single one of them, even more information you might have missed, and then a little bit of alpha that we're just finding out from Artemis's AMA before I go and watch it today. So there is a lot happening in Illuvium right now. It is all very, very exciting. And we're going to talk about it in great depth as we go for today's episode of The Download. How's it going today, man?
Yeah, good, man. Exciting. It's like a pretty, like you say, pretty full-on 48 hours. I've been saying it on these weekly shows that the team's been cooking. Kind of mental that everything came out. I won't say everything, but a good amount of things came out one after another, back to back to back. I mean, you tell me. It seems like the sentiment is overwhelmingly positive with most of the stuff that has come out, which is always good to see. And the crazy thing is we haven't even started. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say that. We definitely have started, but there's so much more that's coming that it's just gonna get wilder from here.
In terms of sentiment, I definitely think it's positive. There are a lot of questions regarding the announcement. The announcements, although they've been really good lately, and this one in particular was actually really, really good, they can be a little bit vague sometimes, where they don't really consider the super duper obvious questions. That being said, the team's usually in the Discord answering that stuff right off the bat. So it's not a big deal. But the big thing I'm seeing is, how do we become eligible for PB4? And the other thing is that people are like, how do we apply for it? Even though the announcement clearly said applications are going to open like in a few days or whatever it was, right? So very funny.
It's in a couple of weeks. It's on the 18th of April, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, absolutely. We haven't put that out. It's not that we overlooked that information. It's that there's more information to come. So as we roll this out with more information, that's when everyone will get more information about what's planned. It wasn't overlooked. We are systematically putting things out in a way that we want to really maximize this. So yeah, absolutely.
So let's jump into all of the boring stuff and then we can cover off the announcement. So first up, we've got a message from Ben here that I really wanted to ask you about, where he says they're not adjusting the bonding curve after release. They're adjusting it presently because prior to release, the demand side things, we could be making need carried through to the supply side. So he's talking about the bonding curve and the supply side being completely different, where the model says 10,000 Illuvials exist, and the new model after launch could be 100,000 Illuvials. So I don't really know what he's talking about here. Do you know what he's talking about?
This isn't my area of expertise, so I'm not going to pretend or waffle like I know what he's talking about here.
To me, it sounds like the bonding curve is more of an algorithm or a formula, and the supply amount is something that they can change later on.
But also, you can read it there. It says, once we release, it doesn't change. So if you continue reading this conversation, which I did read, again, he reinstates that once the game actually does come out, it's not, or once open beta does come out, it's not something that we want to change. So, like I say, I would ask people to go read this conversation, but yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I have some insider information, better understanding of this than the average person.
So the next thing we've got here is from Aaron, where he says, sorry about the unlearned stuff, but it is part of the process. He's looking at all the feedback. And he actually really likes it to see if the direction is right. He's hoping that the next update they do will be the last required to get it going well. So from what I've seen in the community, a lot of people are really enjoying the latest arena overhaul. And yeah, it seems like it's going in the right direction, to say the least.
Yeah, and it's funny. I know, like, well, I was joking about it prior to us going live that we were having a discussion about the unlearning process and how you're finding that a bit of a thing that you need to go through as well. Yeah, I get it. Like, I do understand that there is unlearning to be had, but I do think that the product today is so much better than the first iteration of the product, which makes sense that the unlearning thing is going to happen, right? Like, when you have such a massive, it's kind of the example that I use is, of course, there's an unlearning and a learning process going from a bicycle into a motorbike or a car, right? Like, the products are so different that you're going to have to unlearn some things and then learn some things again. But it is only going to add to your experience. So I get it. I understand. I I think one of the big things is try and take yourself or whoever it is that feels that. I get it, and what you're feeling is completely valid. And I will say that the product is better, but understand it from someone completely new coming in. They're not going to have to unlearn it, and the experience is so much better than what it used to be that I think it makes up for it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just one of those things, I suppose. And we'll keep going as we go. I mean, I'm eager to keep learning it and keep playing it, and see if I can improve. But I'm hearing there's a lot of Ramfire still, which isn't that bad. I don't actually think Ramfire is that bad, but it's interesting. Hopefully, there's some interesting meta stuff that happens soon too.
Yeah, for sure. I think like balancing hasn't completely been updated. We had some small balancing stuff that we did, but nothing's been fully updated to the point that we want it to be. Again, we just wanted to make sure that the direction made sense rather than the balancing. The balancing shouldn't be too difficult now that we think that we've got the direction going right. And in terms of the Ramfire, it's funny. I've actually only experienced the Ramfire meta one time since I played. I've actually seen a variety of different teams, which makes it fun. I
did lose initially to it's like a hard mystic. I can't remember. Anyway, let's have a look at this. So someone was asking if landowners will get access to Private Beta 4, or how is it guaranteed that we can test the full game loop on Private Beta 4? And Kieran is saying that it is not guaranteed. Now, I don't know if this will change or if they'll update this or if they will have a really minor way of guaranteeing access to it. But so far, it looks like there's not going to be one of them unless you're an esports pro, and then maybe it's guaranteed, which Kieran kind of details later on.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't mind sharing this because Kieran mentioned this in the AMA with Artemis that way I'm going to touch on throughout this stream and a bit later when we talk about the AMA specifically. But yeah, we're going to be limiting the first phase of Beta 4 to a select amount of people. And the reason for that is we want to just make sure that we don't absolutely overload the systems and the servers immediately. We want to test it, make sure that everything's up to where it needs to be before we open it and really gas out, max out the stress test. So that's going to be the case. And with the numbers that we're throwing around internally, it's just not going to be possible for all landholders. But again, what we're going to do is anyone participating in Illuvium, in our ecosystem, there are going to be various ways to put your name in to be eligible to get into that phase 1. One of the other ways was through creators that Kieran mentioned in the AMA. So, for example, and again, I'm happy to say this now that he said it, but for example, Scoriox, you'll probably get an allocation of spots that however you want to put that out. Obviously, you'll get it for yourself, but however you want to give it out, whether it's through your videos, Twitter, if you want to make people do a dance challenge, I don't care.
Don't make me choose people. Don't make me a gatekeeper.
No, you don't get to choose people. You don't get to choose people. But I mean, yeah, there's going to be a way where you can offer some of these slots to various people, present them with it, and then they can go in and put their names under as, hey, I came from Scoriox, and we will pick. We will randomly pick based on that.
Should be interesting. I'm looking forward to when people get access, and hopefully the right people. The right people is always a hard thing to say. I like to think that anyone who's been frequently playing the overworld should hopefully get access, sort of a thing. But there are definitely some that are more
different
involved.
avenues.
Yeah. There are definitely many community members that are more involved than others, and I hope everyone gets a really fair shot at the very least, right?
There'll be different avenues to make sure that is the case. Yeah, for sure.
So this is a really awesome update from Kieran, where we have $24 million in the treasury now, with revenue starting next quarter. Once we build the treasury tokens back up, he would like to do one more public raise to ensure we have 5 to 10 years of runway without revenue. which would be really, really awesome, especially if you're an investor of Illuvium. And yeah, so we have about 2 years of runway and revenue starting up very soon. So very, very exciting times for Illuvium as a whole, for sure.
Yeah, dude, I can't. It's wild. Like, I remember a few months, maybe a year ago. I forget the exact dates now, where runway was an issue. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, are we gonna have enough runway?" There was people on Twitter putting graphs of how quickly we would run out of runway, thinking that the team and Kieran would let that happen. That was never going to happen. That was never going to be a possibility. Now, after doing the raise with Framework, that helped a lot already. And now, again, we're going to talk about it in the next couple of topics, I think. But raising 12 mil with the Series A, I mean, we're looking pretty comfortable, considering that revenue is going to be starting very, very soon, or as the new word states, imminently. So yeah, very, very cool. Very happy to see 24 months. If we look at the current burn rate, that's looking at roughly, give or take, 24 months. I mean, 20 to 24 months. So that's a good year or 2 years. And considering we're looking to start generating revenue in the next few months, that is looking like we're in a pretty strong position.
I think confidence goes a long way for a whole lot of different reasons. So that's what's most important here. The next thing that happened is the latest arena patch came through, overhauling the entire game. For anyone who doesn't know, I did make a thread recently that breaks down all of the differences in a really concise manner. But basically, Alluvials now ascend through their stages. Even though this thing is really hard for me to get to understand, and I'm still on the learning curve with this ascension thing, I actually really like one specific part of it a lot, which is like, you don't have to like sell your fern to place a Blazonite. It's just an upgrade cost. Yeah. And so it kind of feels cheap to get to these later stage alluvials, even though they change up the board quite a bit. I think it's quite interesting. It's hard for me to explain, but I actually really like it, even though I'm having a hard time learning it. The Ascension token stuff, which is really cool. Basically, you can only ascend a little bit each turn. Augments rework, so you get augments each round now, and all augments are free. I think free augments is quite fascinating, since you still don't play them straight away, because you might want to wait until you have a different alluvial on the board, or you might want to wait to see what other augments you can still draw. So it makes a bit of an interesting turn-by-turn setup.
Yeah.
Legendary augments have been reworked. They've all been reworked. Legendary augments, I think, feel more powerful overall. There aren't some that just feel better than others. They all feel quite interesting, which is quite great. Hyper has way better bonuses, almost too good, but the range for Hyper is actually increased as well. Overall, quite an interesting change. I personally like it. I would have liked to see the Hyper range decrease, but they're trying to make sure that Scions can gain Hyper. So it's more of a, does my board counter your board rather than does my alluvial counter your alluvial, in my opinion, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a different way to run the game, really.
Yeah.
And the team builder now has 50 cards, and there's some minor buffs and nerfs.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to cover. I mean, the Ascension stuff, I absolutely love it. Can it be tweaked a little bit with the amount of Ascension tokens? Yeah, absolutely, for sure. But I think it's a lot better than what it used to be. Again, is it perfect? No. Am I going to pretend like it's the best in the world? Absolutely not. But is it objectively better than the first version that we came out with? 100%. Like, I think it was way too. I still think we experienced some of this, but the first version of Arena was way too flowcharty. And what I mean by that is you would put down the alluvials that you're going to play. You would have 8 alluvials, and you would play exactly that every single time in the exact same order every single time. And you could essentially put Ramfire in straight away. You could put whatever you wanted straight away. And it was like, games ended really quickly. Like, it just didn't feel good. Whereas currently with Ascension, if you want to get to Rampfire, you put the Rampy, you put the Rampfire, and it feels like your board is evolving. It feels like you're working towards an endpoint, which is cool. And it can be counted. So, for example, I might have a bunch of stage 3s, and let's say that my primary goal is the Randfire, and they end up doing a bunch of things that essentially makes me realize I shouldn't double down on the strategy. Let me go another one. And I think that maneuverability is quite a cool thing to do. Uh, but yeah, I think the Ascension makes it cool in a way that, again, you feel attached to your board and your strategy that you're playing, because it's developing over time, not just I put it in, I'm done, I'm just going to move this here, move this here. But like I said, is this perfect? I don't think we're at that point yet, but I do think Ascension was a great addition. And then the augments, obviously, I think that was just overwhelmingly positive. I think that there's not really, again, is it perfect? No, but I don't think it's fair to criticize what it's achieved for now. I think we're just going to keep iterating on it. Team builder, interesting. I'll put that up in the gray zone right now. But yeah, I think overall, a much better game. And I'm keen to see when, after maybe a week or two of balancing, maybe a patch here and there, I'm not sure. But once it kind of settles down again, I'd be keen to see how tournaments go if you guys start that back up, if that's something that the community demands, and what that looks like. Are we going to see the same mirror matches? I don't know. I don't think so. With the RNG of augments and the variety in team building, I think we're going to see a little bit more, just a lot more of a fun experience for viewers and players as well.
Yeah, it should be really interesting. I'm keen to cast a tournament or two in the future. That's for sure. So I'm looking forward to that. So the next announcement we've got is actually one of the biggest ones we got. Illuvium X Py Penguins collaboration. Basically, comment your favorite Pudgy Penguin you think should collaborate with Atlas, and they will add it into the overworld. I'm assuming as an Easter egg in some way, but who knows? But Pudgy Penguins, for anyone who doesn't know, is probably the biggest NFT project in existence. Okay, now I know people are going to fight me and say Base is hot garbage. All right, Base is not that good. Pudgy Penguins is incredible, but more importantly, Pudgy Penguins is the only NFT project, and maybe crypto project at all, that has broken into mainstream adoption. They got merchandise and plushies and things into like Walmart from memory, which is literal mainstream adoption, getting products into...
Look, I'm not going to, I like Pudgy. I'm going to have to cut you off. But, I like Pudgy, but I'm also not going to say that they were the first ones to go mainstream. Again, when you have Kevin Hart, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Justin Bieber buying bases, that's as mainstream as you can get. That's putting it in front. When people talk about, when the everyday person talks about NFTs, they say monkey pictures. That's not a penguin. It's Basey. I'm not a fan of Basey. Look, I don't have any strong feelings for or against. But yeah, I don't think it's fair to say that they didn't achieve a similar kind of success there. But carry on.
Well, they used to be. Basey's fallen off. Pudgy is coming in hot. All right. Let's get on to the next one. Series A funding closed. And their big thank you to our investors. We've got Arrington Capital, King River VC, and Amoga Brands. I don't even know if Amoga's invested in Illuvium before. I like to assume they have.
I believe so.
But yeah, so glad to see them coming back. Golden Chain, Arca, Selena, Laser, P2 Ventures, 32-bit Ventures, Yield Guild Games, a lot of eyes on them at the moment, N8 and 7 Capital. So huge congrats to all of them. A really big raise this time around. So, huge moment for Illuvium. We talked about it already, but we'd love to see it.
Yeah. I'm not going to add too much on that. Yeah, very, very happy with that.
And now we get to the updated roadmap and private beta for details. And we should read out some of this because it's very important.
Yeah.
Purpose of PB4. PB4 and open beta testnet are critical for gathering your feedback and ensuring a smooth transition to the official open beta. Your role in hunting for bugs and testing gameplay is invaluable. To say thanks, we've portioned off a chunk of ILV tokens for play to airdrop rewards during these phases. I quickly want to draw a parallel. I played a little bit of Nyan Heroes today because they just had their global launch, and they have missions and things that you have to complete to get airdrops. I think it's great, honestly. I think it's great. Just having activities you need to do in the game to participate in an airdrop is a good way to do an airdrop in the crypto space. So I'm really looking forward to this. Roadmap to launch. Pre-registration starts April 15th. So stop asking. April 15th. Running from April 30th to May 28th, a select group will have access to the full gameplay loop. May 28th, open to everyone. And then open beta, seemingly in June. We'll explain that in a second. Then we have this thing here, which still has open beta and Beyond Wave 3 in Q2. So it's safe to assume they're probably both going to occur in June, hopefully.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited, man. We've got a bunch of stuff that's coming up for Private Beta 4 in terms of the airdrop that was leaked in Kieran's AMA with Artemis. So anyone that hasn't watched that, absolutely go and watch that. But yeah, he talks about the airdrop and how we're gonna have the ability to start earning points in Beta 4 and then going into open beta as well. So it's going to be really, really exciting. And I think there's going to be a variety of ways to earn those points and collect those airdrop points. So there's a lot of fun to be had there. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, whether it's through through Zero or Overworld or Arena. There's going to be a bunch of ways to be interacting with our ecosystem and really collecting those points. And yeah, I won't say, I think Kieran mentioned it as well, that he was actually going to announce the amount for the airdrop, but I think he's holding himself back for another announcement, another bit of a marketing push for that. And I'm very, very excited for when that comes out. I think everyone in the community knows that we're portioned away 10%, or the team is portioned away 10% of the tokens of the total supply for marketing purposes like this. So give or take, I mean, we've used some of them, but a very negligible amount. So give or take about a million tokens on the sidelines waiting to be deployed. Now, I'm not saying we're using a million tokens, but I mean, it should give you an idea of the potential scale we could get up to with something like that.
Oh, sorry. It's been a long day. Okay. All right. So the other things that people are noticing on the roadmap are actually quite interesting. We could see in Q3, we've got end of Epoch 9 and Epoch 10 elections. Surprised that has come up so quickly, but it has. And then at the end there, we have new game IIP. And people are speculating on this. I have no idea what this is referring to, but I'm going to take a guess that just they're going to accept the proposal for a new game. We don't know what that is yet, or maybe Kieran has something in mind, or maybe the Battle Royale that Aaron's been talking about. But I guess an IIP is going to go
maybe
through.
Hearts Ablaze.
Or maybe Hearts Ablaze, and a new game is going to start being built. Or start being designed in Q4. So really, really cool stuff. And maybe by the end of 2025, we'll have a brand new game as well, making 4 games for the Illuvium universe. The other thing is Illuvium Beyond stuff in Q4. Obviously, we'll be in full swing of open beta, so we don't need a whole lot there. Hopefully, Tiger Royale or something comes out. That'd be really cool. And then Illuvium Arena Mobile early 2025.
I just can't believe we're almost there, man. Me and you have been around since early days. So the fact that we're almost there is, it's just exciting stuff, man. Exciting stuff. Very, very excited for, man, I can't believe we're actually going to say this for the next couple of months. The next couple of months are going to be pretty mad. There's so much that's still going on behind the scenes that hasn't really hit the public yet, that it kind of blows me away that we came out with 48 hours worth of announcements, and it's still not everything. Like it's just pure madness.
What I'm really fascinated about right now, I gave this some thought about a week ago, is the testnet launch. Obviously, you're basically playing with Monopoly money, but these alluvials are on chain in some degree, and so that means they can be traded. Do you think people are going to be putting up stuff on the Illuvidex for really weird prices and stuff, even though it doesn't actually matter? It's not real money. And people are going to be like, I might put up like an Atlas, and Viper's like, I need that. I'll buy it off you for 1 million ETH or something because it's testnet.
Yes, I mean that is the intention.
But it'll be really interesting to be trading amongst ourselves and things like that, which would be really cool. You know, it'd be sick, and I don't want to throw this at Aaron now, but like a cool trade animation would be really cool, like Pokemon.
Oh my god, yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yes,
and you get it's like a trading interface in the game somewhere. That would be fun. Like a global trade center. That'd be really cool. Okay.
Yeah. I'll answer real quick, Devin. Do we know how to get access for PB4? Yes, but it hasn't been made public yet. So that is information that will, like I say, Kieran hinted at a couple of different ways in the Artemis AMA, so I recommend watching that. But nothing has been made officially public outside of that just yet.
So here is some further details on it. So private beta 4 pre-registration April 18th to 30th, 2024. And then private beta test for a beta 4 testnet April 30th to May 28th. May 28th is actually my brother's birthday. I will not be around for the open beta testnet launch by the sounds of it. Everyone can play test and earn airdrop points, and then open beta mainnet after testnet phase completes, which is really fascinating because in theory, if they feel like they've got enough testing from 1 week of testnet, they could launch open beta. No, I'm kidding, obviously. But hopefully sometime in June. If it's later than June, I would be quite disappointed. I don't think having an open beta testnet for a long period of time is a good idea for Illuvium, but that's just me.
No, it makes sense. If everything is good to go, it doesn't make sense. It hurts us to delay it. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want to give people something for free for too long and then gate it behind or whatever. I mean, it's a testing phase, and it should be maintained as a testing phase.
100%.
So the next thing we've got is very much appreciate talking to Artemis for the Artemis AMA. I'm really looking forward to watching this one. TSG says it's awesome, and there's a ton of alpha. Do you want to take us through a little bit of the details? Obviously, we're not going to spoil the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I haven't completed it myself, to be honest. I'm about 30 minutes in, and there was so much alpha in the first like 10 minutes. But yeah, talking about how to get access to the beta 4 registration, that's one of the things. He goes into more depth about Illuvium 0 and how the incentives about playing free to play. He goes into more details, more specific details about the airdrop themselves and how there's three airdrops that he's planning essentially. Like there's just a lot of things like that look, I want to drive you guys to that AMA, so absolutely watch that. But no, there's a lot of things. I think it's a lot of value. I think Artemis, this was not planned, but we had Artemis booked a couple of weeks ago already, and it just so happened that those dates lined up exactly just after the 48 hours of all the announcements. So she got the first one at it, and she absolutely smashed it. She recorded it, edited it immediately, and put it out so quickly. So super efficient, was able to capitalize on it. Really want to show her that love, and yeah, we should see a bit of a push from the other creators about clips here and there in the coming days.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome. Glad to see that she got it out really quickly to not miss this hype train that is currently leaving the station. And then we got one more thing to talk about, which I don't know what this is. TSG, what am I looking at?
Yeah, this is crazy. So everyone knows that Donald Trump is like selling NFTs on Polygon, but I didn't realize that he was actually a fan of Illuvium as well. So someone found this tweet about him saying that he actually played. I don't know if it's him or I don't know if he's waffling or if it's his kids or grandkids or something, but that he says that he's played Illuvium and it's going to be huge. I'm not going to do the impression. I can't do it. But yeah, I mean, giving a shout out to Kieran and stuff. So yeah, shout out to big man DJT. I mean, promoting Illuvium. I'm not gonna to say anything negative about that. Appreciate you, big man.
I have nothing to say on that. That is absurd.
Yo, it's
Oh my
100% real.
God.
That is not doctored at all. That's 100% a real tweet.
That's not Photoshop. No, the
It's
font.
no.
That's totally a Twitter font right there. That's
Yep.
not
Yeah, yeah.
Roboto.
No, it's not. It's not Twitter. It's his own social. It's Truth Social.
Oh, right.
That's why it looks like that. Yeah. Massive shout out to the big man for that one.
Oh, okay. Is there anything else you want to cover off before we head off?
Nah, I think that was it, man. That was it.
So there's a lot happening in Illuvium right now, and I'm almost a little bit sad that they announced all this stuff with the dates for it starting being even a month out. Would have been nice if it was next week, but you know how it is.
Bro, marketing, we can't do that. Like this is the most organized we've been with everything. Like we really want to make sure we keep hitting it with a bang. Like, well, we're not even going out with jabs this time around. We're going hooks, haymakers the whole way. A couple of weeks till we actually the registration opens up. So expect some other stuff from now till then, and then it's just haymakers the whole way. So it's gonna be, I mean, Mike Tyson in his prime kind of stuff that we're dropping here.
Actually, on that note, did you want to play me an arena to wrap up the stream?
I have a bunch of stuff to do, man. I apologize. So
wow.
We can do that. We can do that another time. But yeah, I've got a bunch of things that I need to take care of. Like I said, we're going haymakers. I can't do that. I can't do that right now. I apologize.
All right, if you say so. All right.
Yeah, I apologize.
With that, have a good one, guys. Enjoy Arena Ascendant mode. Try out some different teams to shake up the meta a little bit. I think there's going to be hidden gems out there. I really do. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys all come up with. The one thing I didn't realize, which was really crazy, was you keep all of these standard synergies when you're upgrading your alluvials.
Yeah.
That's taking a bit of getting used to, but I like that. I'm gonna see what I can do with that.
Easier. Yeah, it's gonna take some time to like optimize it, to get used to it and optimize it. But yeah, like I said, it's just so much easier. Like if you play Bloom, you're gonna get what is Bloom? Earth, and yeah, so you're gonna get whatever the primary is, and then Bloom as well, which I think is really, really good. Yeah, it just
love to see it. Easier. Crazy stuff. All right, have a good one, man.
Peace out, guys.
See ya.